Hi! Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is kind of like an impromptu video. This is something I definitely wanted to do at one point, but I figured today was a good day and I was in the mood to put makeup on, so here we are. It's story time, because a lot of people have asked me, when did you get married? What sparked it? How come? Like all this stuff. And those are like not bad questions at all to ask me, because anyone who may have realized I haven't really posted on social media about how I did get married to my husband before he left for basic training. So I'm gonna give you guys some story time today and to tell you guys all about our journey of getting married before he left for basic training. So to start, I think a really important thing for me to do first is to show you guys a picture of my husband. So I'm gonna adjust a little. Here he is with me, and yeah, he's super handsome, he's super cute, I love him. we knew starting, I think after maybe 8 months, even maybe earlier in our relationship of dating, that we wanted to spend the rest of our lives with each other. And I think I've had, like, in the 3.5 years, now almost 4 years that we've been together, I really just learned that, like, God put him in my life for a reason, and he's the man that, you know, I think we all as women, or even some men, like we, you know, pray that we find somebody who just truly completes you, makes you feel whole, makes you just feel like you, and you don't have to be like any which way around them just to be who you want to be. Justin does that for me, and I think I could do that for him. So for us, we knew that we wanted to get married. We knew that that would be something in our future. When he decided that he was, you know, very interested in going into the military and had, you know, gotten me to do a little bit more research on it and to understand the benefits that we would be able to get, especially if we were married, that's what really kind of drove the conversation like more, and to make it more real that like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, we are going to get married, and it's going to be before he leaves, so we can obtain the military benefits that there are and be able to call each other husband and wife. And I think a lot of times, sometimes people, if they don't know your relationship, they will assume first that you are just getting married because of the military benefits. But anyone who knows Justin and I knows that like our relationship is, anyone who like had ever interacted with us would know that we have always wanted this, and that the military really can provide that more for us without us feeling like a huge financial burden or feeling like overwhelmed by everything. Just having things really set into motion in the most smoothest way possible. To go back into like the timeline and everything, so I had mentioned this in my first video, kind of like the timeline of when Justin had decided that he wanted to go into the military. So it happened, like the process of actually doing it happened in August of 2018. So the summer after I graduated from college, and at that point it was like I was just starting my retail job with Hollister. I was an assistant manager, and from there we just knew, like we were just like, okay, let's do this, like, you know, let's figure out what's happening with the military, and then from there we can, you know, do all the rest. Being able to do that and go through the journey, because it was a long process. I had mentioned this in my first video. It was such a long process that I didn't even want to tell anybody about it, because it almost felt as if he wasn't going to be able to make it into the military, and I didn't want that. Like, I didn't want it to be, I put it out there for people to know, and then suddenly it's taken away from us. Because to me, it's, I'd rather it be out there, it's 100%, before I just put out things that may not be 100%. And that's just the type of person that I am. Some people might be totally fine with that, but that's just the type of person I am. I like to have things be like 110% secure before I even can put it out there for anybody else to really know. So once we really decided more on like the benefits of like how this is gonna work for us, like he's gonna go to training, how are we gonna get like married, like are we gonna just like do something in the court real quick and then be like, cool, we're married, awesome, bye, you know, or did we want it to be kind of like special and do things like more traditional? So my parents specifically are like come from like a Christian background, and that is something I've always grown up with. So for me, I always knew that like whoever I was going to marry, we would want to do some sort of like premarital counseling just to, you know, talk about like marriage and all the good things and even the ugly parts that are going to come with being married. Because I think a lot of times we think we know everything and a lot of things, but it's really good to just have another perspective. So we were able to, thank God, go to the church I used to go to and meet with one of the pastors who has known me since I was young, and also had the chance to get to know Justin. So that's something that was like really important to me, because I didn't want to go to the courthouse and have somebody marry us who didn't really know us and have to like figure it out, because we were on a time crunch. So just to backtrack a little, we knew that we wanted to get married, and he proposed to me on March 17th, so St. Patrick's Day of 2019. And at that point, I was like, okay, you're gonna leave in like a month, because his ship date was April 30th. So at that point, I knew, hey, like we kind of have to figure this out. Like, you know, I was super excited. Obviously, I wanted to like enjoy being engaged, but I knew like we kind of have to figure out what we're gonna do, so that way if we want to have maybe some people there or whatever we want to do, we could give people enough notice and get things done in the most timely manner. A week after we had like talked it out and he had proposed to me, I had reached out to the pastor at my old church, and I said, hey, like, would you be willing to marry us? And we're kind of on a time crunch, so like how soon can you get us there, you know? And I think that was just like a moment where I was like, this is really happening. Like, I'm really planning my quick wedding before I have like an actual wedding. Because I will add that too, Justin and I will be having like a bigger reception, a bigger wedding, like still with the ceremony and everything, and that's going to be like later down the line. We did like 2 sessions of marital counseling or premarital counseling, and from there we just felt a little bit more better about it. And after that, at that point, it was now like getting into April, and it was going to be the 14th of April when we were going to have our like small ceremony, and we were going to have it at the church, which is also really good. And if anybody is like trying to figure out this process of getting married, yeah, the courthouse is fine, but my dad actually brought up to me how like we would have to pay court fees, and like those things can like add up, and it's up to you. I mean, if you like are totally fine with paying those things, those are great. But if you know somebody or even have a friend that has like a pastor that's maybe close to them, like that you can get to know, like do it at a church, because generally it will be free. Like I don't know of other churches that have charged, but mine was free. I just think that's a good option, and you get the chance to just do a quick like premarital counseling. Like it doesn't matter if you don't identify as Christian. I mean, unless like you're the type of person who just like really doesn't want to get towards religion, that is totally fine. But for anybody who may be thinking about that, I definitely recommend checking out a church to get married. So I will provide some pics for y'all. So here's a picture of my dad and I. We were walking down the aisle at this point. Super excited. We had Justin's family was on one side. I don't even know how everybody kind of did that, but Justin's family was on one side, and then my friends and family were on another side. At that point too, I already had picked all my bridesmaids, so they were kind of like, most of them were able to make that, which was super exciting for me to see them and have them come down. So again, it was a super small ceremony. It wasn't publicized. I didn't really think to publicize it, also just because it was a time crunch and I wanted everything to get done in the most smoothest way possible, and I didn't want to feel like overwhelmed with like keeping up with like telling everybody like and having to tell people like, hey, it's okay if you don't come to this because we're gonna have our big thing later. It was just easy to invite who I wanted to invite, or invite who we wanted to invite, and from there just, you know, do the thing and then have a good time with the people who are there, and then anybody else who we obviously want to be at the big one will be there. That's kind of that process, and I know that might kind of sound like, you know, oh, it just like seemed really smooth, but it was definitely a lot of work. Like we definitely were doing a lot to plan for it. We had to get our marriage license and everything, and every state is different with that, so definitely look, if you're coming from like other states, to look what the guidelines are for that. You will have to pay the fee to obtain your official marriage license, things like that, and just make sure you have like people who are willing to be witnesses to sign off on your ceremony when you have it, because those are things that you would need in order to, you know, get married on that day. And then also when you go in, at least in New Jersey, I know, when you go in for like that kind of session with the clerk, I know in New Jersey it was a clerk I met with in my township, he or she will ask you to have someone who is a witness for you to come. And it could be anybody. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, your cousin, your sister, whatever, your best friend. I know Justin, one of his best friends, came to do it with us. Like, he's the real MVP. So definitely keep those things in mind, but definitely look at your own state like laws and rules with that, because there might be different things that they do require. But once you do it, you'll just feel like so good. I know myself, like even now, like I still forget that this thing is like here, you know, and that like I'm like really married, and like, you know, even though he's not here, like I'm still so happy that we are married, and that when he gets back, like we get to continue this journey of being married. Like I know a lot of people may find it where it's like, oh, but like don't you feel like you're missing out on things? And it's like, well, no, because we're doing our own journey of this marriage, and it's a beautiful thing for us because it's uniquely to us, and we know what we're experiencing, and we get to experience it together. So I think that is something that if you are hesitant and you're just like, I don't know if, you know, I want my significant other to go in the military because I feel we're going to miss out on these things. Yeah, I mean, the military is not easy, and I'm not even have gone through like even the ruts of deployments or anything like that, but I know that it can be a journey. But what's most important at the end of the day is supporting each other. But if you and your person, whether it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or fiance, are willing to make it work, then do it. But at the end of the day, it is up to you two, and you two have to make the best decision for you both. Some more pictures for you guys too. This picture right here is when Justin and I were just like holding hands, listening to the pastor, his name is Andrew, being able to just marry us, talk about things about us, which was also really cool. Because he knows us on a personal level, so he threw in like a little personal tidbits there. And then also another picture I'll throw up for you guys right here is just us hugging after. Like, shout out to all my friends and fam who got the best pictures, because your girl would have not been able to do it because I was in the middle of getting married. So I just have to say, like, this was a very impromptu video. Like, I just really decided today, I was like, you know what, I really want to like talk about this with you all, and to be able to share like, hey, this is what happened, and you know, here I am. It is kind of like a slower process for me to change my last name. So anyone who knows me knows my last name is like long, hyphenated. Can't wait for it to be short, because a lot of people are like, wow, like, are you excited? You're gonna have like the easiest last name ever versus the most complicated last name ever. I mean, I don't know if it's the most complicated, but people say it is. So yeah, obviously I'm excited, and today I actually did start the process to do that. So I'm actually gonna show you guys what I did to do that. This is not sponsored, by the way. So there is this great company called, I'll hold the box up, Hitchswitch. So what they do is, if you want, you can pay them like $100, up to you if you want to do this, and they will give you basically all the documents you need in order to start the process of changing your last name. So for example, like the first step when you do want to change your last name is that you do have to go to the Social Security office that's closest to you, and you have to go fill out a form, you wait in the line, and you like go ahead and get your last name changed. They provide the paperwork for you with it basically pre-filled out. All you have to do is sign, date, and then fill out some of the optional stuff if they require it, depending on which office you go to. So that is like the most simplest part, and I think it's worth it. I mean, especially the woman actually at the Social Security office kind of said this too, like $100 is probably like the smallest thing you'll pay when it comes to planning your wedding anyway. So if you know, if you're someone who's like super busy and like always kind of doing stuff, having this is good, because that is the only one where I have to kind of go in person for. Other than that, if I want to do stuff over, like send stuff in by the mail, like if I want to do like my updated passport, for example, I can just mail that in, and I don't have to worry about like going in person or doing all the stuff online. Like, they give you all the paperwork, which I think is super awesome. So definitely check them out. I'll put their name right here just in case you guys didn't catch it before. It is Hitchswitch. I will also put it down in the description for you guys, and I'll also link their website there too, so you guys can definitely check that out. So definitely keep checking us out. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. As always, definitely give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was good. thumbs down if you didn't, but it's all good. I will accept the thumbs down because I want to learn. So if there's anything you guys are seeing that you might think is like a little too much, I don't love it, just let me know, and I can definitely appreciate all the feedback that is given. But you guys are awesome. Stay sunshiny bright and have a great rest of your week. All right, y'all. Thanks. Bye.